Just one thing to understand with real-world tokenization. You have typically you have a bunch of different moving parts. So you will need, first of all, the assay, so a company or a protocol or something that does the assaying. So assaying slash, I don't know, let's call it valuing and verifying. I'll explain these in a sec. So that's one. Then you've got the tokenization, and at the same time you've got the let's call it the escrow part. Then you need the marketplace. Obviously I haven't laid this out properly, but if you have a, I don't know, a house, for example, or a watch, or anything that, you know, a real world asset, what needs to happen is that it needs to be valued or assayed, and it also needs verifying. So, you know, you can't just put up a fake Rolex, say it's worth 100 grand, but actually it's worth £10. So any form of real world asset will need to be verified that it is what you're saying it is, and that you own it. So they're verifying the veracity of it and the ownership of it. So you'll need to, if it's a house, you need to show that you've got the deeds to the land, all that sort of stuff. It needs to value it as well. So that valuation is critical. Once that's approved, then most likely going to give some form of NFT. Well, nope, sorry, wrong. Once you got all the stats, it then goes over to the tokenization department or protocol or company, and that's where they chop it up into however many units, and they will then spin off an NFT, or I don't know, 1 million NFTs or whatever, and that is the sort of the digital representation of the real world asset. But the thing is, there needs to be some form of escrow. So, you know, if I'm putting up a watch, a Rolex watch, to, you know, to tokenize, etc., you know, I can't just keep the watch myself and then get all of the tokens from it and then do a form of double spending. That has to go into some sort of escrow, so to speak, until the contracts are, you know, NFTs are burned and the contracts are, you know, voided or fulfilled, etc. And then once you got all of the tokens or the NFTs, it then needs to basically go to a marketplace. So when you're analyzing these RWA products, you have to ask yourself, which part of the process are they doing? Is it an escrow? So really, you can actually chop up RWAs into, let's say, 4 different segments. So buy maybe 1 or 2 tokens that do the assaying, valuing and verifying, because you just know it will always go down to 1 or 2 firms. A bit like when you look at rating agencies, you've got Fitch and Standard & Poor's. For US rating agencies and stuff like that, and most things end up with 1 or 2. If in the UK, if you're going to sell a house, it's either you're going to go to Rightmove or Zoopla, I guess. It's always 1, 2, maybe 3. So you could maybe, if you really wanted to go down the RWA route, buy 1 or 2 assaying, verifying type protocols, 1 or 2 escrow type things, and that's probably going to be 1, because by the time one of them's got past a peak threshold and it's got, like, I don't know, $1 billion of assets, everyone will be like, that's the one to, you know, use. Then there's going to be a whole bunch of tokenization protocols, so maybe 1 or 3, and then you'll need a marketplace, and then again 1 or 3. There's going to be shitloads of tokenization marketplaces. But the key thing is that you'll have hundreds of WA marketplaces, but you probably only have a small handful of each of these other sections. So I always sort of pause inside when someone talks about RWAs, because you have, most people don't understand that there's this whole process behind it, and I think it's highly unlikely, well, actually maybe not, you know, when you think of things in first principle point of view, you know, if Elon Musk was going to enter the crypto real world asset play, what he would do is have one token that does freaking everything. Just like Tesla does everything. It's a car company, a robot company, an AI company, a solar tech battery company. It's R&D. Like, it does everything. Well, ultimately, you'd want one protocol that does everything as well. So I think you'll see real-world assets have a form of maturing. So that will be quite segregated with all these separate little things, and then eventually the Tesla of real world assets will come along and go, oh yeah, we do everything. Boom. Really what it needs to do is if I was going to do a moonshot play, I would try and hobnob like crazy with the aristocracy in the UK, because there's a handful of people in the UK that own a huge percentage of the land and property in the UK. A huge amount. Like, we're talking, I would say like 5 families own something stupid like, I don't know, 1 million houses in the UK, something obscene like that. And what you would need to do is basically have a meeting with all of them and go, hey, look, if you pull all your houses into one sort of pot, tokenize it all up, you own this new thing, and then boom, they could then launch into the world of, hey, we're a property real world asset thing, starting off with X billion pounds worth of property. Like, that's one way how, so these are the sorts of things that I'm trying to keep my eye out on.